Hello there everybody, welcome back to another Lost Ark video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than I normally do, but I used to make these videos semi-frequently. But I haven't made one in a very long time. And today I thought it was pertinent for me to make one because I've been thinking about some things. I've had some things on my mind for a little while now. And I figured I might as well talk about it. So what am I talking about? Well, if you can sort of glean by the title, depending on what I end up titling this video, for better or for worse, I've been thinking about the whole concept around the game and the design of the game and like an us versus them sort of mentality. And it's not an us versus them mentality in the traditional sense, in that it's us versus Smilegate. Rather, it feels like the player base is incredibly fractured, and it only continues to get more fractured the longer the game goes on. And I think a lot of this has to do with how the game is designed and how the game continues to push for a more hardcore sort of treadmill, vertical progression sort of ladder stepping system. What I mean by this is this game continues to go down a path in which it becomes harder and harder for the casual player to realistically play and enjoy the game near the end game content. What I mean by this is typically a casual player base is imperative and important beyond all means for a game to live, correct? I think a lot of people can agree with me. And with every new system that gets added to this game, the gap between casuals being able to play and enjoy the latest content, albeit not on the hardest difficulty, and interact with the latest systems, the gap continues to widen. You take a look with things like elixirs, you take a look with things like Theomine, specifically hard mode Theomine, locking Transcendence behind hard mode Gate 3 clear, on top of normal mode being already like incredibly difficult for a normal raid for the vast majority of casual players, right? And even if you're not a casual player, like, it is significantly harder than any other raid, right? I think that is completely 100% agreed upon throughout the community, because that's literally what the director said, if I'm not mistaken. Theomine is supposed to be the hardest raid, bar none. And while I think that's a fine thing, I think locking a system behind hard mode is just... nah. I honestly, I don't think the system should be locked behind clearing it at all, personally. I think it should be like every other system in the game, where you obtain the materials very slow if you only clear like gate 1, 2 normal. But you're still able to eventually interact with the system and clear the system, right? There's no locking a con gear behind clearing hard mode Akon. There's no locking a con gear behind clearing gate 3 hard, or normal Akon, excuse me. It's just not locked. It's just, you're prohibited to craft the gear based on the amount of Eyes of Decay that you have, and the Eyes of Decay collect rate is based upon the difficulty of raid that you can or choose to clear every week. And that's sort of the basis for why I'm even kind of talking about this, because it seems like whether it's a vocal minority or majority, I can't tell you. I don't know. I can just see what people talk to me about personally, or people talk about on the subreddit. And I think this was definitely charged between a conversation I had while on stream the other day. Check me out if you want to watch me. I'm trying to start streaming every day. I don't do anything too crazy, so if you just want some background noise, like my videos normally are, that's all I do for streaming, basically. But come check me out. I typically stream for a couple hours in the morning Pacific time. If not, no worries. Also, join the Discord in the description if you want notifications for when I go live or drop a new video. Back to this video, though. What I mean by this is, aside from the casual player base continuing to fracture more and more, it seems like you have two subsets of people. You have the subset of people who are diehard Lost Ark lovers and grinders, right? These are the people who enjoy the game and enjoy the systems within the game, despite how predatory those systems may or may not be. And this is sort of the crux of what I've been thinking about and wanting to talk about, is that I find it interesting that there is a subset of people who are okay with certain predatory, like, design choices, and rather than want the game to essentially be designed in a better and more accessible way, the argument seems to be, if you don't like it, don't play. Or something akin to that. For example, a very, like, hotly debated topic, for good reason, has been elixirs, and it continues to be elixirs. You have one camp of the player base who seemingly has no issue with elixirs whatsoever, and it's just another system that you're expected to grind through, and it's not that bad. It only costs on average 300k to get 40 set or whatever, so you shouldn't complain about it, etc., etc. You have that group of people, and then you have the group of people who just think the system is designed poorly, which, to be honest, it is. And I'm not trying to downplay anyone's opinion, because everybody has opinions, and just because you disagree with an opinion doesn't make their opinion any less or more valid than anyone else's. That's just sort of how humans work, right? Everybody has their own opinions, and everybody has their own takes. Your only is based is your worst take. So, with that being said, it's a slippery slope because it seems like less so it's us versus Smilegate or Amazon to get changes passed in the game, but it seems to be becoming more of an us versus them mentality, but positioned towards the player base. And I think fracturing an already small player base to the level at which I seem to be seeing it, and maybe, again, I'm totally open to be blowing this way out of proportion, and maybe I'm just misunderstanding, in, like, perhaps the subset of players really is just a tiny minority, but I feel like the longer the game goes on, the less casuals play because of how not casual-friendly the game is. And that's always something that I try to bring up whenever I talk about the game, because I understand the importance and value of casuals. And at the end of the day, I just want Lost Ark to succeed. And I don't think a game can succeed without both a casual player base and a diehard player base, right? But a game cannot subsist solely on a diehard player base. And that's my opinion, right? So that's why I feel so strongly about stuff like this, but it just... It concerns me how we have this divide, and it seems like the divide only continues to grow. And I want to see the game succeed. And I want to see these systems get better. And I think if you're somebody who is in the boat of if you don't like it, don't play it, or don't interact with it, please try and reconsider the core of what people are saying. I'm not asking you to change your opinion because your opinion is wrong. Obviously, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I just got done saying it. But I feel like we have a common enemy here, and that common enemy is the developer, the development team. And I don't say this to be like, oh yeah, sling shit at the developers because they deserve it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying in order to make a better game for all, it starts with uniting the player base. You know what I mean? And I think the longer the game goes on, the more divided the player base gets, and that breaks my heart. Hopefully this little ramble video, I don't know, did something for you. If not, hopefully you threw it on your second monitor and you enjoyed it at least a little bit. I don't know, man. This has just been on my mind for a while, and I wanted to bring it up and talk about it in some capacity, so here we are, and that is what I did. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next one, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Adios. Mwah.